What is some advice you give someone who's about to kind of jump into this process? They're in the conceptual phase, they don't have plans, nothing yet. What do you kind of wish you knew or were glad that you did know?
I would say one thing would probably be to start collecting all your architectural salvage and everything pretty early on. I don't think I realized before I built, even like knowing what kind of sink you want is how they do the plumbing before you ever get to putting, like I kind of thought, oh, that's the last thing. It's not the last thing. Like that happens before so many other things where they actually put all of the, you know, plumbing stuff in place. I would say as far as design, I'd probably, if you don't want to be as life altering with how involved you are, a more simple design. Like the porch thing was harder than I thought. The attic thing was harder than I thought. Maybe focus more on like the common spaces, like the kitchen, the living room, making them authentic. And then like we did drywall up here in these rooms. Simplicity, so you can focus on the details, like maybe even a smaller footprint, because, you know, if you want certain aspects to be really beautiful, well, you can't cover a huge, massive house with all that stuff. And since doing this, I have been looking around at so many houses everywhere we go, and there are very beautiful, very, very simple old houses where they're just like a box, but the proportions are right. And I'm like, that, I feel like you could do that fairly easily and then focus on the details.
You could shout out top 3 resources online people could go to for inspiration or their builds that you've used. What would you say?
I would say like there's the New Old House book. I love that. That kind of gave like not only like the design, but also giving your home a sense of place. Like we're on a farm in Missouri, and so I wanted it to look like, I didn't want to stick out like a sore thumb. I wanted people to think like, oh, you renovated this old house, which is what a lot of people have thought. So that would look different depending on where you are. Like if you're in, you know, the West, it'll be a whole different style of house. If you're, you know, there's just like different styles throughout the country and world. And I think that that is helpful. That book really helps you to kind of think that through. I really like Jay Osborne. He makes these plans that he offers pretty much for free. What happened was I was going to do that, and then we started changing so many things that it was like, okay, we got to like go back to the drawing board. Mostly because we have a really large family, and not that large families can't live in a smaller house, but like just we could, so we decided to do it. So we started like making additions and all this stuff. So, and then I love Brent Hall's YouTube channel. You'll learn so much if you go over there. So his channel is great just for so much education, especially if you're new to thinking through, like, I think a lot of us, we appreciate the look, but we don't really know why it's like that. We're like, I love it, but to like zero in on the details is something that we haven't figured out. I think that's why a lot of times when someone tries to build a house that's new, old, you kind of do the things that maybe you thought were the things that made the big difference, but then after observing longer, you might discover there's even more things. And then there's places where you could not worry about it too, and figuring that out beforehand, I think is good research to do. Yeah. So. Okay,
question though, is curiosity. How many years has this been a dream in the waiting?
I started dreaming about this in, I want to say late 2023.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, so it hasn't been that long, but I've always loved old houses. And so I just assumed when we realized that we wanted to, you know, have a little bit of a different property and move, I assumed we would find an old house, and we looked and looked and looked. And so I think it was around 2023 that we were like, this might not happen. Yeah. And that's when I bought like New Old House. I started watching Brent Hall and started like kind of piecing together in my brain like the things I'd noticed about the houses that we've lived in. So the love of old house is very long. Building one, more new.
Right. This is so neat. And I think this is really going to set a precedent in terms of what you're doing on whole. I mean, I know it's kind of a trend, but I've never seen it done quite like this.
Well, thank you. It's been a process for sure. But yeah.
I'm excited to see the first Christmas in here though.
Oh man, me too.
For a full tour of Lisa's house build, click on the second link in the description of this video, or click the video that pops up on screen shortly. Beautiful Bathtub was thrilled to help her finish this build with 6 vintage fixtures from our inventory of bathroom and kitchen pieces. All 6 pieces are originals from the 1930s and include 2 vintage pedestal sinks, 2 porcelain toilets, and 1 5.5-foot clawfoot tub. These 1930s pieces were professionally reglazed via our in-house resurfacing service. This service restores vintage fixtures to new or better condition for use in modern day.